Texted on there. My first fine, Robbie. I don't know where I was supposed to put that one. Sorry. I was feeling good about myself. Now I'm all shook.
It took a couple days. It
did take a couple days. I was feeling good. I'm a little shook because you know what? I called out Putin earlier in the show. Our internet's been terrible since I've done that. I just think he needs to find himself. I'm just gonna say it, Leroy. I'm sorry. Like if you're gonna be sitting here, you think you're gonna be president of Russia the entire life. I'm sorry. It's just not. Life doesn't work like that.
Hey, life doesn't work like that here. Okay? Other countries got other rules.
Do you think that somebody actually tells Putin that I've called him out, or do you think that somebody just knows Putin's not going to like that? We better just try some chicanery just so Putin is pleased.
Somebody said, has there ever been an NFL coach that was hired and fired the same year before training camp starts? Because Denver is about to do that.
Wasn't they got rid of Vic Fangio?
I don't think so. They haven't got rid of him yet. Or I mean, I don't know if there's.
He was hired last year, the old guy. Yeah, what happened? Right. What did he
do? He said that he said that there wasn't much racism in the NFL. That was his quote.
Here. Here.
Oh.
I'm gonna give my.
Oh no.
I'm gonna give my Caucasian brethren some advice. Please don't give your input on matters that don't affect you. Understand what I'm saying? So, whether it's accurate or not, whether it's fair or unfair, that message cannot come from a white football coach.
Jesus.
Is that safe to say?
Yeah, man.
Okay.
It really is safe to say. Oh boy.
But if he doesn't say anything, aren't they gonna hound him and ask him to make a statement if he doesn't say anything?
Look.
Hey, that is the epitome of damage is done.
Damage is done, my friend. Well, like Robbie said, the Knicks made a statement today.
Yeah, they did.
Yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday they did a retract statement. Oh, well, we condone racism right after they had their other statement.
Bully for you, love.
Damage is
done, my friend.
It is nothing. It's not a big deal if you don't feel you have to comment on every situation.
But that people
that's
get mad.
Okay.
But people. But I'm not saying that this would have applied to him. But people are getting mad at people who are not commenting.
I mean, true, but you can always have the comment like, "Look, I think there's some issues that go on, and I don't necessarily always comment on them simply because I don't ever know if my information is accurate. Because when I turn on the TV, I'm always getting some kind of slanted story. So I'll sometimes sit back and evaluate the situation and pay a little more attention to it before I come out and take any kind of stand on it. It doesn't mean that I don't have an opinion. It just means that I'm not just rolling with the comments without making sure that the comments are coming from me and not from what I've heard.
This was from Anthony Lynn, Chargers head coach. Did better than Vic Fangio. He says, I've read some good statements. I read Brian Flores from the Dolphins, and I agree 100% with him. I read Doc Rivers' statement. Those guys spoke from the heart. I think statements are needed to bring awareness to the situation, but I want to do something too. I don't want to just put a statement out there because it's the right thing to do. I want change. So I guess it starts with having the conversation and talking things out. In 1992, I remember watching LA burn, and here we are in 2020, and I'm watching it again. It just hit me that nothing has changed. I haven't done anything to make this place a better place for my son. I remember having the talk with him when he was 16 on how to handle the police, and then at 30, I called him again just to have that talk with him again because I'm so scared. I want to do something, but to be honest with you, I don't know what that is.
And a lot of people are experiencing that. I mean, in order to have a meaningful conversation, I think that you need people from both sides. You need people from the police department. You need people in the community, and you need local residents to all sit down and have this conversation. Because, if you knew what a police officer's job was and what his goal was in a situation, right? You could then understand what he's looking for, what have you. Now, that's all fine and great. But so many times we hear situations where police officers react without giving that explanation. And so people are not only concerned with what's going to happen to them, but they don't even know why they're arrested or why they're questioned or why they are detained. And I think that clarity, first and foremost, needs to be identified. Hey,
Gotcha.
sir,
Yeah,
we're questioning you for this reason. Oh, okay, or whatever. Or that wasn't me, or whatever. Because once they decide to arrest you for something, okay, you no longer have the right to clear your name at that point.
Right.
That is the biggest problem. Because after the fact, they can always come back, right? Always come back with reasons as to why they thought it was okay to arrest you. And for whatever reason, that will never be an issue. That's the problem to me, is that if I'm walking the street, a police officer can come and question me because,
Right.
fill in the blank, because he can pull me over and start asking me questions, because that is the bigger problem for me.
And then when you get upset, it happens. It's like they almost have to defend or justify what they're doing.
Right. Right.
And
Like I told Robbie yesterday, dude, I've been put in handcuffs before. It is very uncomfortable. You are squirming and moving around, not trying to get away, but to try to get in a comfortable position. And so when a police officer tells you, stop moving, right? I'm like, yo, this isn't the best feeling in the world. I'm not going to run them in handcuffs.
I'm so sorry. I'm laughing.
No, I know. But it's the reality of it. Let's keep it real. That's the truth of it. So now I take a guy, handcuff him, and have 3 police officers hold him down. Why? You don't think one guy could keep a guy held down that's handcuffed with his hands behind his back? So, yeah.
You also made your living running. How fast do you think you could run with your arms behind your back? Do you think that's going to be effective?
Some say I didn't pump my arms when I ran anyway. So I don't know. Somebody said, Leroy, you ever have had the same conversation with someone who just sits there and repeats the same thing you're saying? That's not a real conversation. Then here, let me explain something to you. Let me explain something to everybody. Until we deal with the issues at hand, the same conversation needs to be had. You don't just move forward from a conversation without a resolution,
Right.
without some conversation about that topic. And so people want to move forward. Okay, here's what happens when you move forward. Yeah, you're listening to me. We're going to move forward. It's going to go away, and the same crap's going to happen down the road.
Dude, it's just
So
like-
you have the same conversation, you deal with it, you come to a resolution, and then you move on. That's how real conversations happen.
Yeah, man. Like there's going to be, and the thing is you can't. You're hoping times like this can drill into people's heads what Black people have been going through. That's why you're seeing all that. They're trying to bridge something to you, and you may think that you're hearing things on replay, and you feel like you have to defend yourself by saying all lives matter, not just Black lives matter. It's like, no, man,
Right.
you don't. You're not getting the message. Is that like it's not looked upon the same. That's why that message has to get out there. The way I'm gonna be dealt with police, and the way Leroy's gonna be dealt with police is gonna be different, and that's not fair, and that's not right.
Right.
Like and yeah, I guess it's unfortunate that Anthony Lynn's had to have the same conversation with his son 14 years apart, but he does, and he feels like, you know what, it'd be nice if at some point, once I'm sure his son ends up having kids, that'd be nice if it wasn't, that his son doesn't have to have the conversation with his son.
But guess what? And that's part of it too. That's part of it too. As black men and women that have young children, you also have to have the conversation with them to make them aware, right? You have to make them aware, and that's fine. Like, there's two different realities. There's the reality of what you want things to be, and there's the reality of how things are. You have to prepare for how things are, and you have to hope that things get to where the reality of where you want them to be. So I don't have a problem with having a conversation with my kids. I don't have a problem with my family had the conversation with me at a
This Putin again, man.
Which one of us is gone, Robbie?
It's Leroy. It's Leroy.
Son of a... I'm sorry I angered Putin. He was making such a damn good point. Damn it. I'm not going to mess with the Russians anymore, okay? I'm sorry. I won't do it again. I won't do it again. This is I'm gonna get in some hot.
You know what sucks?
What?
Right?
You were making such a beautiful point.
So while I'm talking, I can hear you.
I know.
And so I have no idea that I'm gone. No idea. So that basically I was talking to myself. I said, look,
it wasn't that long though. You were in the midst of the about talking to your kids about how things are.
Right. You have to it's called preparing your kids for the future. You have to talk to them about the realities of the way life are now. And it doesn't matter if you want things. You know, we all hope that we can get to a point where this is not an issue. I think all people want that. Whatever your reasoning is, you don't want to have things or situations in your community that escalate to this point. But that's in the future. It is incumbent upon all of us. And I would say even white parents, okay, to have that conversation about what is going on in society. Because guess what? One day down the road, your kid might be a cop.
True.
And having that conversation with them now, maybe it's going to make them handle these situations differently. And so everybody needs to have the conversation. I have to have a conversation with my kids. I heard something on the radio yesterday. Like, when you get into a conversation with a cop, or you get into a conversation with an officer or anybody like that, when you get into a conversation, when you get into any type of confrontation on the street, your main job is to get home. So if that means, oh, I'm not going to look like the toughest guy right now, come home. And that's the most important thing. We got to have these conversations. You have to. It's part of, we have conversations with our kids about all things, right? At some point, little Tommy go come home with a girlfriend. You know what you're going to have to do? You're going to have that conversation with him about what is the right way to treat a lady. How should you handle yourself with a lady in different situations?
I know. My wife and I have this conversation sometimes where she's like, you have to treat the way Sophia dates people the same way you have to treat Tommy dates people. And I'm like,
no, you don't.
That's not going to happen.
No, you're not going to happen.
That's a silly thing.
That's not going to happen.
That's
nope. I'm telling you right now.
Because when my daughter's going to be married, when my daughter's going to be dating people, I'm going to be out in the front yard sharpening my machete. I'll be like, oh.
Hey,
ew.
I'm not keeping my swole on for my son. I'm telling you right now. The swole, it's real to me, damn it. Hey, I'm telling you.
Real to me, damn it.
Hey, I'm telling you. But hey, well, I was questioning a 7-year-old a couple of years ago. It's real. I don't care what people think.
Let's get to the headlines, Robbie. What do you got for us, man?
This is WAXYAM South Miami and WSFS-FM HD2 Miramar, a radio.com sports station.
Which is brought to you by the Ryan Fields Downstairs Convenience Stores, truly steps beyond convenience. So, remember how you guys brought up Grant Napier yesterday getting suspended? Well, now he is fired.
Dude, I can't believe that. That was like a, you know what that was like? Boogie Cousins basically did the move where Jimmy Butler did to TJ Warren, where he did the intentional offensive foul because he knew that TJ Warren couldn't resist. That's exactly what Boogie Cousins did to him.
Right.
Boogie Cousins,
it's amazing.
Boogie Cousins says, please give your thoughts on Black Lives Matter, knowing that guy was going to respond, all lives matter. He goes, got him. All right, see you later, everybody.
But wait. Now, the way he responded, isn't that an indication of who he is?
Well, it was crazy. Like, you had all these kings come out of the woodwork, be like, we all know. We all know. Chris Webber, Matt Barnes. Matt Barnes just threw it out there. He's just like closet racist.
Right, but I think more importantly, what gave it more validity as to what kind of person he was when Chris Webber came out. When have you heard Chris Webber say anything about anybody? Anything. Except on TV.
Except being mad about the Fab Five stuff.
Yeah, he wasn't participating in the documentary.
So the fact that he came out, right? He came out and said the things that he said about, hey, man, like, what did y'all think? Everybody knows. Then Matt Barnes went all Matt Barnes on the situation.
He goes, takes.
Yep, he just threw. He said, counted to 3. 3, 2, 1. Bird.
Grant Napier resigned as Kings play-by-play man, and then was let go by by KHTK, his radio station that he.
I don't know, man. I think if ever I get in a situation like that, it's gonna be because I tried to say something funny and it wasn't. It's never gonna be because I just go after somebody, because that's not my thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, it's you gotta be careful out there. That's why I'm a little reluctant. I'm on day 3, but I'm scared.
I'm scared too. I'm scared of that damn Radio Rewind app, because that thing just keeps everything up there. Because we got ourselves the best goalie in the business, and that's Robbie. Robbie, if anything's questionable, Robbie's gonna dump it. But that only saves us from on air. I mean, we can scrub it from the podcast, but I mean, it's a situation to throw something up on radio.com rewind. So we gotta cross our fingers for 24 hours. We gotta be like, please.
If Robbie was the goalie for the Panthers, they'd be a 1 seed.
Oh yeah.
He'd have like 0.5 goals, and that's only because of the athletes that we bring on.
Oh man.
I don't think people realize how many times we've said something and Robbie goes, had to dump it, questionable.
Sorry. Like what?
It's like you were talking about the ball that they play, the racket.
Oh yeah, for badminton.
Badminton.
Yeah.
For badminton.
Yeah,
and you were getting ready to say it, and Robbie's hand just got hovered over the red button.
He goes, He gets nervous when Bobrovsky in his Russian accent says the word focus.
Oh yeah, dude.
Because of how he says focus. It's a little dicey.
Oh my goodness.